up, guys? Adam Steele here, as you know. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the War Machines, and most importantly, the latest one I just finished, also finishing, like refining today, the Lat Pullover. Have not come up with the perfect name for it yet, but it's coming to me soon, I promise. Yeah, I'll come up with it. But anyway, with that being said, the War Machines, essentially a fitness line of equipment that I have created for the Warhouse Gym. So you can follow us on Adam's War Machines, so you can kind of see all of the dozen different models and unique designs that I've created. And with that, I decided after everybody kind of reached out and asked like, hey, what's the next War Machine? We did a poll on the stories, some stuff like that. And a lot of people, I think the majority of the comments were like a Lat Pullover. So when I got back from Texas after driving for 19 hours, I just jumped right in, you know, did any little maintenance repairs and checked on the shop here at the Warhouse in San Diego, and touched base with the team, you know, Mel, Giselle, Miguel, Rebecca, Chris, everybody. And then just hopped right into it and just started coming up with a concept. It was really funny. How they come to me is, I don't really know how to explain. I get an idea, like, I know how a lat pullover should work. I have a degree in physiology. I've been in gyms my whole life, you know, obviously. Love bodybuilding. I've been certified twice as an ISSA trainer. I did a master strength training, and then, you know, background in just about everything as far as the trades. Got a degree in physics engineering. All the different variables and experience in ideal technologies, skills and know-how and ability to create the War Machines, because I was building a gym during COVID, and it started just, you know, putting everything into it and working on it nonstop, that it just came out to be this awesome thing for the community and everybody. So, you know, when you're doing something on your own and you don't have any help and all that, like, you know, cost was a factor. So in the beginning, I started building machines because I knew I could, and I think I could do them better. I believed I knew I could, and I ended up doing just that. I could build these War Machines as a strength equipment line better than what's available today. And so it made economical sense for me to, instead of spending $4,000 on a belt squat, I could just fabricate one myself and make it awesome. So that's kind of how the whole thing started taking off. And then as they gained popularity with our members, the community, people from surrounding areas. We have pros that visit from, you know, West Virginia, Florida, Texas, Canada. We've had people here from Hungary, Sweden, Norway, the UK, obviously a bunch, Saudi Arabia. And then just like falling in love with them, it's just turned out to be continuous work and effort that I've put in, creating more uniqueness for the Warhouse Gym by building the War Machines. So when the pullover came to me, I was just I was just standing, and like it just popped in my head, like, okay, obviously with, you know, force and range of motion, the weight has to be lifted to create some sort of resistance. You have to move weight. Generally, like a weight stack, it has to, you know, weight works against gravity. Mass over gravity equals force, right? Whatever. Because most machines, as you pull over and you come down, about halfway it gets really easy. And you kind of lose the tension because the engineering and dynamics just really aren't there. So what I was thinking, how do you get like an even radius of tension? And immediately popped in my head a piston cam rod on a wheel on a locomotive. Essentially how trains move. Like back in the day, trains had a piston and a wheel, and the piston would turn the wheel around every time the piston would go in and out. It was on a bearing rotation, and it would turn the wheel. So I'm like, okay, so a piston rod and bearing, that makes sense. And then I just immediately I saw it in my head. As you can see here, the piston rod, as it rotates on the singular center point axis, the radius right here essentially allows it to come up and pull the bearing, the tie rod, if you will, on this Heim joint, the tie rod, to rotate to the top, of essentially lifting the bottom of the rod, pulling the weight on its own axis moment arm straight up. Obviously some trial and error on best placement with the range once it was assembled, but it did not take long. I think I assembled one side one way and the other side the other way, and then just connected to see which one would have the best force. We all tested it out, and it turned out, to just kind of land once I found the right position and move the points of contact to the right angles, to where it wouldn't rotate to the top and then pivot the weight and throughout the range of motion, but it would set back to where when it rotates to the top, it's continuously pulling on the plane of resistance. So it took me it took me like to build the warmer, to go from idea to concept about 3 or 4 days. And essentially, they start very simply like this. Just a really terrible drawing. But this obviously, makes sense to me, but it might not make sense to anyone else. But, just essentially throwing what I see in my head and my brain and just line it out on paper. And then I thought it was a cool idea, instead of having like a sprocket or a wheel like you would a chain drive machine like back in the day, how cool would it be if I could create a moment arm on a piston rod? I could put it on anything as long as it had a circular radius, semicircular. And so I thought it'd be fun to dress it up and very inexpensive, to have Mike Pierce, a good friend of mine over at American Products, Thunderbird Water Gem, knock out a couple of, we changed the logo a little bit to make this a secured like wheel sprocket, if you will. So we made connections on the logo to make it unique and very strong and 1/4 inch steel. So I had two cut out, and then I applied those to give it a very unique look. It's fun. It's branded Warhouse as a war machine, and it made it simple. Like, why not? I had the room to be creative and be universal with the type of dimensions. And with the war machines, I think in conclusion, like what makes the Warhouse the best gym there is because I'm not a bitch ass gym owner. I work every fucking day, every day, to make the gym better. Like if I'm standing around and I have absolutely no other projects or anything to do, I literally look around and I think to myself, what could be better? What could I change? What could be improved? What's failing? Are things being cleaned enough? Are there things missing? Is something getting broken more often than it should? There are so many variables when it comes to providing good service that there's always room for improvement. That's why we're successful. That's why we're 10xing every year. Like, it's ridiculous. It's awesome. I love it. But, I work super hard at it. Like, I don't know any other gym owners that literally do any of that. But I am passionate about what I do. I'm good at what I do. And it just makes sense. And so it's a fun, little unique trait that the Warhouse gyms are all going to have. But they will have the exclusive line of the War Machines. And so check them out. They're pretty friggin' badass. Not everybody that gets into engineering is also a welder. Not everybody who can weld also is good at physiology and have been in the fitness industry their entire life. Not everybody in the fitness industry knows dick about building anything. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's just unique to my situation that I have the ability to do what I do. So it's fun. I enjoy it. And so far, literally everyone seems to enjoy the machines. So we've gotten a lot of awesome reviews. We'll definitely have to put a collection together for you guys. But yeah, and my name is Adam Steele, and this is Real Steel.